For the fourth time under head coach Turner Gill, the Liberty Flames defense says no points for you. Liberty pitches a shutout here at Bailey Memorial Stadium this afternoon. 16-0, the final score over Presbyterian College here in Clinton, South Carolina. My name is Nick Pierce alongside Matt Camary. And the Flames with a win here today, coupled with Charleston Southern's loss, have locked up at least a share of the Big South Conference Championship, but now at 4-0 in the league. Liberty will turn its sights to Charleston Southern next week in Lynchburg for a Big South championship game. But before we talk about that one, Matt, let's first of all talk about this Flames defense here today. What an effort from Robert Wimberly's group. They really balled out.
Absolutely, they did. Ball out is an understatement. They played really well today. They had to fill some key losses. Jerron Green did not play today. Will Brown came in, did a phenomenal job. Again, I think the defensive line is probably the best position group we have overall. The defense together as a unit held PC to just 175 yards total offense. That's a great effort by them. Again, the defensive line played great. Nick Newman, in his game back from last week, had 7 total tackles, had an interception and a sack, and I believe they credited him with that blocked field goal, which he looked like he jumped about 20 feet in the air on that one.
Yeah, it was a little reminiscent of that Coastal Carolina block a couple of years ago. Nick didn't get the block, but I swear if Chima didn't get it, Nick was going to get it in that one. But, yeah, dude's got ups, no doubt about
absolutely.
that. Also, the Flames secondary played really well here today. Also, Solomon McGinty, one of the leaders in tackles. And then the linebacking core, you talk about Nick Newman, Dexter Robbins, and then some of the younger guys stepping in. Lucas Irons, Jalen McKinney, they were playing entire series by themselves at some point.
They did, and that just shows you the trust that Coach Wimbo has in his defensive linebackers. And, you know, guys up front, they're not afraid to put in these young guys, which is great. We saw that last year. We're seeing it again this year, seeing a lot of these young guys come in, fill the spots of older guys. Dexter Robbins did have a great play where he sacked PC's quarterback for a big loss. He was all over the field. I believe he had a forced fumble, and he was just all over the field, and like they are every game. So I think the defensive unit as a whole has really come together, and like you said, they pitched a shutout today. They said no points for you to PC.
Yeah, the Flames played really well on the defensive side, no doubt about that. Had a chance to catch up with Erwin DeSources after the ball game and some of the other Flames as well. Erwin was making his first start since the Robert Morris game.
Oh, I definitely was very excited about the opportunity. Just wanted to go out here and still show that I could be very dominant and still be a very good playmaker for this unit.
Really, it was just a team effort. I mean, we came out, we just had to be patient with our reads. I mean, they came out really physical and violent in the first half. So, I mean, we just had to get a feel for the defense, understand what they were trying to do for us, and everything just worked itself out on its own. I mean, I just thank the O-line and the receivers for blocking so hard for me.
Anytime you have a shutout, number one, here in 2016 is very tough to do against any opponent here in college football. So it's just to show that our staff and our players, whenever they called upon, they're ready to play, they produce. And that shows that we have a good football team, good coaches have been able to coach our guys. They have to do a little bit more reps. So Will Brown did a great job. Erwin DeSources, the D-line, is continuing to play extremely well.
So the Flames get the win here 16-0. Looking at it from an offensive standpoint, Liberty took them a little while to get going. They did score the touchdown in the first quarter with Todd Macon, an 8-yard run to put them up 6-0. Missed extra point then by Alex Probert. Probert redeemed himself, had a field goal late in the first half, made it 9-0 going into the break. And then the Flames able to put the game away really on the ground with 7 consecutive rushes, a 17-yard run by Carrington Mosley on the drive, and then Frankie Hickson punching it in from a yard out.
Absolutely. That drive, it was a shorter drive, but 7 yards, just they knew from the get-go that they could dominate up front. And that's what we had talked about on radio as well, is that the offensive line had to take control of this game. We knew that the run game would be where it's won, and it proved that today. The offensive line, again, patched up a little bit, but these guys took control of the game in the second half. That one drive where they had 7 rushes, including the touchdown, they just established their physical dominance up front against PC's defensive line.
Buckshot Calvert today didn't have the big numbers that we've been seeing here. We forget he's a true freshman sometimes. Only 5 of 15 today, but didn't do anything to go out there and lose the game certainly for the Flames. But sometimes he's going to have games like that, but that's where it's nice to have a solid rushing attack to fall back on.
Absolutely. When you got a guy like Carrington Mosley who's rushing 17 times for 141 yards, your quarterback can have a down game. It's okay. And again, like you mentioned, he is a true freshman. This is a learning experience for him at a game like this. We've seen gaudy numbers from him. He's been putting up great numbers, putting balls in great spots. Past 2 weeks, he's struggled on some plays. And again, that's okay because he'll go into the film room starting tomorrow throughout the week, and he'll learn from it. Coach Daly's going to have him in there saying, hey, this is what you missed. This is how we're going to get it next week. Just be on the lookout for whatever the defensive back is doing, the corner's doing, the safety's doing, linebackers, and you can get the ball across the middle some. Today, I will say I did notice him trying to go deep a little more. Seemed a little forced, but again, he'll work that out this week.
And that's a guy that's just wanting to make plays down the field, as Joe Daly's pointed out as well. Sometimes just got to learn to live to fight another down, and that's something that he'll continue to get better at as you move forward. All right, well, let's look at next week. You got Charleston Southern coming to Lynchburg, championship game. Charleston Southern needs this win to stay in playoff consideration after losing to Gardner-Webb. They now have one loss. Liberty, the only unbeaten team in the league. Obviously, if the Flames win this, they can lock up their first outright championship since 2008. A lot of hype going into this game.
A ton of hype. I think the hype has been around Charleston Southern Liberty at the end of this game for a long time. The championship runs through Charleston Southern. They're the defending champions of the league, so you have to beat them. It just makes it right to have to beat them to win it all. We locked up a share, but you don't want to share a title. Let's be honest here. You want to win it outright and go into the playoffs in a couple weeks after that as the Big South representative. Charleston Southern's going to come up really prepared today, really prepared next week. Today, they slipped a little, let Tyrell Maxwell kind of run all over them. They're going to shore that up this week in practice, just like the Flames will learn from their mistakes today.
Charleston Southern's won the last 2 games in the series, but Liberty will try to turn the tide next week. 3:30 kickoff, Williams Stadium. But a final here today in Clinton, South Carolina. The Flames winning over the Blue Hose, 16-0 shutout victory for Matt Camiri. My name is Nick Pierce for the Liberty Flames Sports Network.